Okay, students, we're back. Okay, now, again, for anybody else that gets this, because we have it on YouTube, this is 2020. This is the pandemic, COVID-19, and I'm teaching from home. It's the only way. I teach a freshman student, so I teach them everything that they need to know about cosmetology. The thing that's really hard has been the communication factor as far as, are they doing it correctly? Because I can't stand right next to them to watch them do what they do. So I try and take it into extreme baby steps. The thing about color, for example, normally the book, if you look at a cosmetology book, and anybody can order a cosmetology book, if you look at a cosmetology book, you can order one of the old ones or whatever on Amazon. And you go into the section about color. They introduce you into the 3 primary colors. Our last video, we talked about all of it, where color came from, what color was created from that. We had pictures of all different colors. And that's what you normally do, is see a result, but you don't know how that result came together. So in teaching this to students, I take them to the extreme basics. I mean, I teach them to walk before they start running. They crawl before they walk. In other words, baby steps into it. Does it mean they're going to use this information behind me afterwards? No, they might use one, but they're not going to use all of it. The rest of it's going to be in their brain. And it's the same for you. You want to learn color? Here it is. This one is called The Reality of Color, How It Happens. All right. So when we started yesterday, or on the last video, on theory, color theory, that was this here, color theory. There's only 3 colors. They never ever change. The thing that is not taught in school is breaking down those colors into formulas. They break them down possibly into words. Okay, let's go to the words. The words, the very first primary color is yellow. The next one, yellow grows up. We know it grows up to become. The personality character of yellow is what? I told you on the last video. Grabs, but lets go. That's why all of you that have bleached your hair up and turned it blue, that's why it turned lighter. It didn't stay that dark blue you loved. Same thing with the red. It faded. Same thing with the violet. It faded. Because yellow says, I'm going to grab it, but I'm going to let it go. All right? Yellow is the last color to leave the hair shaft before it goes into white, and then it's just going to break off anyways if you bleach it up or lighten it up to white. From after that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use I've got a back scratcher. I love these things. They work great on the back, but I'm going to use this as a pointer. All right, so, and then it's pink so you can see where I'm at. All right, so we have yellow, grabs and lets go. Yellow grows up. It becomes stronger. It becomes more. It becomes red. Personality character of red states that it will grab and it will hold on. It stains red food dye on a white carpet, white furniture. It's there. It will not leave you, ever. So red stains. Red holds on. Red grabs and holds on. You need to know about color and how to make that red into a regular hair color. And until you know that, it's going to stay there. So how do you take it back to white? In a few minutes, you're going to see that white is also a combination of these colors. Okay, so from that color, the very number one color, yellow, red, and then we have blue. The color blue, red grows up to become blue. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, yellow will always fade to white. Wedding dresses turn yellow after time. White into yellow. All right? Yellow grows up to become red. Red will always fade to orange or pink. More likely pink, but it's going to fade to the lighter color. And you may see some white residue on there telling you what? It came from that to be that. Okay, red grows up to become stronger. Red grows up to become blue. Blue cannot be blue without red. Blue is red and yellow. And it identifies that by fading to violet, which is red and blue. Sometimes it'll fade to green, which is blue and yellow. Sometimes it will fade to gray, and that we'll discuss in just a few minutes. But anyways, these are the three primary colors. Number one, there is no other color in the whole universe. None. Everything you see, everything you touch is made in one form or another by those three primary colors. And you know that those colors cannot be manufactured. They come from the earth. They can't, I mean, some of them, yeah, they can be grown because they're taken from trees. They're taken from plants to create those colors. Like I said yesterday or on my last video, I would love to see a video that says how it's made for primary colors. How do they make color? That would be fantastic. Okay, so the primary colors, when mixed together, combined together, supposed to be equal amounts. Doesn't matter, it depends on what you pick up. Because when we mix color, we're dependent on the product that we bought and who mixed it together to make that color. So the variables are extreme, but still yet, when you mix yellow and red, you're going to get orange. Now look at this formula. I have brought it out. I have outlined it in red, and 1 and 1 makes 2. Secondary. 1 plus 1. In other words, 2 primary colors, doesn't matter, only 2 primary colors combined will create a secondary color. The first one is yellow and red. That's orange. And see the formula right there? Yellow and red. All right, the next one is violet. Red and blue. Red and blue. Doesn't change, it's the same. The next one is green. And we always, the thing that fascinates me when I look at this, always goes back to yellow. There's yellow again. It became visible again. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, blue is the guard, the protector. Blue is the first color to fade or the first color to leave, and the strength is directed by what is underneath. What is underneath that blue to keep you going, to keep your color on, to keep you, in other words, protected. Green is created by yellow and blue. So again, only those 2 colors. It does not change. The same. Go to the dollar store, pick up a color palette, and only work with those 3 colors. Because those 3 colors created the rest of the colors on the color palette. All right? And you'll see that happen. All right, so from these secondary colors, what they do, and this is where you learn tonal value, tone. They increase in tone of color. They're still the same color. For instance, yellow-green is yellow plus blue. It's still yellow, but it's now has an addition of blue in it because yellow and blue make green. You've just increased the yellow, decreased the blue. Yellow-green. Excuse me. Yellow-orange. You've just increased again the yellow into the orange to make it yellow-orange. It has not changed. It's the same. The colors are there. Now there's a reason I'm taking you to this, because all of this reflects hair color. Doesn't go different from hair color. All right, so now we're going to move on to the tertiary colors. A primary and a secondary. 1 plus 2 makes 3. Tertiary, third level color, still only the 3 primaries. Does not change. Remember, these came from the earth. They came from the ground. So it doesn't change. It's the same. So we have our green, and now we've put more yellow-green in it. Yellow-green, yellow-blue, yellow-orange. Or I'm sorry, I was talking about the tertiary colors. I got lost in my own, Anyways, let's move forward. So now red-orange. So we've gone from red, yellow, blue. Red-orange. Taken that orange and made it more bright. More orange. What do you see in an orange, a red orange? You've seen those red oranges that you eat, and a pumpkin. Are they both orange? But you can see the variable. A pumpkin is more yellow-orange. A red orange has got actually a hue of some warmth in there. And then red-violet. So red-violet. Red-blue. Still, we've taken a warm red and made it a cool red. because the blue colors are considered cool. The yellow colors many times in the books are considered warm, but if you think about it, yellow is very soft, more soothing. Same thing with blue. They both kind of go together. The strength is in the red. Okay, so then we have blue-green. That's a tertiary color, 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2. Do you see what I'm saying? 1 plus 2 makes 3 colors. So tertiary colors are created by combining the 3 primary colors to include only 2 of those colors. Even though it's 3, do you see blue, blue, yellow? There's only 2 primary colors in that combination. We've just taken the green and made it more blue, blue-green. Added another addition, another sprinkle of the primary color in it. Same thing with the blue-violet. We've taken that warmth now and cooled it down a little bit more. Violet is considered the neutral color. If you ever go and pick up color, the N means neutral. The N means it's neither hot or cold. Okay, there you are. Red is hot, blue is cool. So the combination of both takes care of that. It becomes a neutral. But it's even more neutral because now we've added another area of blue. All right, over here in the red, we've warmed it up, cooled it down, warmed it up. Violet is violet. And I showed you with all the colors. There's one thing I wanted to show you before I move on to the shades of brown. Look at, again, all the different shades of blue. I'm not going to bring out all my other charts, but you can see from lightest to darkest. And it can only go lighter to darker. That's it. All right? Let me bring my red out. We're going backwards. Lightest red. And do you see that almost looks orange? To darkest red. Red violet. All right? So you can see that it increases in pigment. However, never changes from the 3 primaries. It only increases to the addition of blue. All right, I'm going to bring up my yellows. Oh, upside down. There you go. Lightest to darkest to look almost orange. And here we're almost like a, I want to call it all, just barely touching the area of going into brown. So you can see that we've increased in pigment. This is very soft. This now becomes a true yellow. And then it starts picking up pigment. That's what pigment is. All right, it's color. So you can't get into color and understanding color if you don't know what put those colors together to become those colors. The last we're going to talk about is brown and blonde. Blonde is just a beige, lighter shade of brown. So on these colors, brown or blonde, either way, yellow and violet make blonde or brown, depending on how dark they are. Red and green. Now, brown or blonde is created again by the 3 primary colors to include all 3 primary colors, all of them. It includes all 3. All right? So, we ourselves, this is what I'm talking about. Blonde or brown. How dark a brown skin are you? How light a brown skin are you? What area are you with that? Because we are all made the same way, with the same formula. Some has a little more to be more resistant, stronger. Some has a little less to become weaker. So be aware of that, is that we're all made from these 3 colors as well. Those of you that are artists know that. You already do this, but maybe you never saw it in that sense. But now you know. So even when we tan darker. That heat creates us to tan darker. Some of us are sensitive to that. We burn. All right? So still yet, it lets us know that it's in there. So brown or blonde What you're going to hear from a product company is that it's a complementary color and it cancels or neutralizes. So if you have too much, let's go with this one. This is the common one. If you have too much red in the hair, they're going to use green to neutralize or cancel it. But do they ever tell you that they're going to make brown out of it in some sense? Depends on how light it is. How much lighter is it that you can make your brown? If it's darker, it's the same thing. If you have dark red, they're still going to use an ash, or green is considered ash. But this is what fascinates me on this. On the colors, every single one of them, yellow, yellow, and then red and blue. Yellow is inside this. Yellow is inside this. Red is inside each one. Blue is inside each one. We're created in these colors, and there is nothing else that makes them. What changes it is if we have a brown here and we add an orange to it. So we have red and green and we add orange. It will then, the orange, because let me show you now, this is where it becomes technical, all right? So let's say that we have a red and green, and now we're going to add orange or gold. It's identified as gold in hair color, but let's call it orange. So what have we done? We've just increased the yellow, there's a yellow, and we've increased the red, therefore the blue is decreased. Warms up. Blue is a cool color. So these start making sense to you if you put them in formula form. If you put them in word form, you don't see it. You don't recognize it. It doesn't come back to you. All right? So these are the colors that make brown or blonde. Black and white. Black is created by all three primaries in the darkest form. In other words, what's the darkest form right here? The darkest form is blue-violet. Okay, that's the darkest form of blue. Red-violet, darkest form of red. And yellow-green, the darkest form of yellow. So still the three primary colors. How much time do I have, mister?
13.
13 minutes? Okay. So identifying this is so extreme. And white is created by blue, red, and yellow in the lightest form. That's the reason for the number 1. You'll understand that in just a few minutes. So understanding and knowing this, for instance, we lift people up to a yellow, which is right here, and then we tone them with a violet, which is blue and red. So making them white or platinum. That proves that fact right there. But it's never broken down in the book like this as formulas, because they are formulas that the companies mix together to create the colors they have. Gray is an unusual one. It's very, very difficult to make, and if you can make gray consistently, you're very good with color. You've developed an eye for color. And some of my students have been able to do it. Generally, what you're going to get, because gray is created by all three primary colors, remember, so is brown, so is black. So it's in unequal amounts. You have to know how to make gray. If you don't know how to make gray, you're going to get brown. Or you may get a secondary or tertiary color. So it's not that easy to make. So if somebody comes up to you and says, you know what, I think we can get this done. I think we can work on this. It's just a little bit of a gray area, but we're going to be okay. Run. They know what they're doing. Unequal amounts. You have to know how to make gray. Okay, so in talking about this, what I want to do now is I want to move that chart out of the way, so I don't want it to confuse you. When you talk about product levels, the lightest level, because that means levels of lift. The number 1, let me move this to the center so you can see it a little better. Okay, I hope that's better. The number 1 is labeled blue-black. Or black. Many of them just have black. They don't have a blue-black. But the number 1, and many colors only go to a 10. And then the ultra, the lighter colors are 11, 12, and 13. But we're going up to the level 12. Okay, so the level of lift, it means that this blue-black has a single level of lift. Then 2 levels of lift. Then it's lightened even more. Now we see blue-brown. The darkest shade of brown is a level 3 color. And then we have a brown. Now, do you see where we're in the area of blue? Now we're into the area of red. Red-brown. And you saw the formulas on how to make it. I was going to put them here, but I couldn't get them in without it making it look like it was too much. But remember those formulas. Write them down. What creates this? How dark is it? How light is it? What I've done is I've given homework to my students to go to Sally's and determine what a level 6 is. See what you see in that. Look at color books. Look at color swatches. What's the difference? How is it made? Because you can't determine how to mix it with something else if you don't know how it's made. Then the yellows. I want to ask you something about the lightest yellow and light yellow. The lightest yellow is white with a little bit of yellow in it. That's the lightest yellow. Think about it in your brain. What would that look like? The light yellow would be yellow with a little bit of white. Instead of white with yellow, it's yellow with a little bit of white. We've lightened it, but the lightest yellow is white with a little bit of yellow in it. So visually you can see that color leave. When you see the color leave, so does the strain. The thing about these color products is you deposit them into what is the client now. Let me move this over. I only have a little bit of time. So how much time do I have, cameraman?
3.5.
3.5 minutes. Okay, so I think I can do this. So you can see that these are the same. The lightest yellow, light yellow, yellow, yellow gold. But do you see that the numbers are different? The reason the numbers are different, see, this says level of lift. In other words, they don't tell you that it's got 12 levels of deposit. It's got all of this color inside of it before you can take it here. They're just telling you that you can take it here because they'll say up to. The word up to in product happens a lot. So normally a 20 volume developer will lift a blue-black 2 levels to blue-brown. It will lift a 3 to a 5. It will lift a 5 to a 7. What's the determining factor there? Right here, red-brown. What if this level 5 has violet in it, more blue? What if this level 5 is more of a gold brown? Is it stronger or weaker? These are the variables, but you knowing what happens with those colors, this is why I wanted to take you through this. This is why I wanted you to see it. This is your client. The lightest pale yellow, in other words, white with a little bit of yellow in it, very little bit of yellow, has 1 level of deposit, 1 level of strength. The 2 has 2 levels. It has to increase in strength to be healthy. This is why I created this. You have to have it exactly the opposite. A blue-black has 12 levels of deposit. A blue-black here has 1 level of lift. Well, this is your client. How much is it going to take for you to take that off? Remember, right here, you've got blue, 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 blue. You've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels, buckets of blue thrown in there that you have to take out. And then once you take that blue out, then what have you got? What's left over once we've dispensed that? Orange. So do you wonder why when you lift very dark hair, it goes orange? And what do people do? They try to use, with their lightener, a 40 volume developer. We're going to get into that in our next class on the different values of developer and how to mix it when we're talking about foil weaving, because that's going to be the next thing we do. So I wanted to cover this with you. You're not going to get this in the book. You will get this. But I want you to have this information for you to know what you're working against. This is your client. This is your resistant level. This is your strength. All right? Thank you very much. See you in the next class.